What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today on a Monday afternoon? Well, wait. Yep, it's Monday afternoon. So welcome, everybody. This is going to be pretty informal overall, I would say, for the simple fact that, I'll be honest, there is nothing that I am just jumping out of my skin excited about with GenCon as far as the games themselves go. And so I thought, still, I've promised that I would do one of these. And so I'm going to. So here we are, you and me together to go through this. Now, this is me going through this list. I've gone through it twice, and I actually changed some stuff around, and I have it categorized in 3 different ways, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But this isn't, if it's not on this list, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to look at it. It just means that I'm not terribly excited about it, but it could be there every year whenever we go to either GenCon, Essen, Origin, something like that. I should say not every year, but whenever we go to these, there is always something, a number of somethings that surprise, right? And so I have 3 days to check this out, plus day 0. Hopefully I'll be able to get into the hall with the press pass and be able to go check some stuff out ahead of the craziness that is going to be GenCon. So this should be a lot of fun. After I'm done with this, I'm sure we can just hang out and I can answer questions and you guys can critique my horrible list and tell me why I'm wrong and all that stuff. And yeah, let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? All right, so we'll see how this looks. Hopefully this works out pretty well. Here we go. So, all right, so as you can see here, I'm using the Board Game Geek preview tool that they have. So we are going to go through this together. I'm going to bring the chat up here in a minute. And yes, I know that's a big surprise that I'm not looking forward to those games that you see right there. So before I bring this up, a couple of things, guys and gals. A must-have doesn't mean I must have this game. It just is my high priority to go check out. The interested in is, hey, I'm interested in it, but one step below that. And undecided is one step below that, but I definitely want to go at least look and see and learn about it, whatever. So with that caveat, let's go ahead and get started. So let's bring this, we'll go ahead and do it by title. And then from there, we will bring up my filters here for this. So we'll have must have, we'll have interested and undecided. Cool. And here we go. Oh, it didn't, we don't want it by that way. We want it by priority. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And as promised, hey, there's the chat. All right, so let's go through these together, shall we? Some of these I don't know a ton about, okay? Some of these I do, so we'll see how it goes. So first up, as you guys can see, and I have some notes written down here, we have Affliction Salem 1692, which kind of you guys know me, I like unique themes. If I care about the theme, which isn't a priority, but if I do, I want it something different, and this one definitely has it, and it's 60-minute worker placement game. And here I can actually go and do this. So you guys can kind of check out some of what it says as well here as we go. But yeah, 30 to 60 minutes, usually not my wheelhouse, I'll be honest. However, the theme, I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. So we'll check that out. So Affliction Salem 1692 to start with. All right. Next up, we have Agra. So, hey, it's trading. It's not in the Mediterranean, though. It's, yeah, I forget the exact, let's bring that up, the exact time period that is. But the reason this appeals to me and the reason it's high on my list is because of the fact that the designer, Michael Keller, is the design or co-designer of both Solarius Mission and La Granja, as well as Andreas Odernal or Oda. However, he designed this solo this time, so I want to get a feel for what Michael Keller what his influence was for both Solarius Mission as well as La Granja, and see what it is. So it's a worker placement with what looks like a dynamic, kind of cool worker displacement mechanism. So that'd be cool. All right. Plus, it's got this whole... This definitely seems like a gimmick. I understand, I think, why they did it, but it has this sloping tracker. I guess a tracker board is a good way to describe it. And this it's supposed to be to where so the whole table can see things. I think that's what they have in mind with it. But nonetheless, cool. All right. But worker placement and Michael Keller, I want to check it out. So there we go. All right. So that's Agra. And again, these are going to be alphabetical. I hope within the three distinctions that we have. All right, so that's 2. Here we go. Next up. There we go. City of Big Shoulders. This, I have talked about this a number of times on the podcast already, and this is not new if you have listened to our show in any form or fashion. Raymond Chandler, my bad. Sorry, Ray. I met him at Origins. We have one of the older prototypes here at HCHQ. Doesn't look so hot, I'll be honest. However, the new one that he had at Origins looked fantastic, and it's supposed to be a heavier economic game, with a 18xx theme. Not an 18xx game. But nonetheless, this has been coming along. I've been following the progress and really excited to finally sit down and actually play a game of this. So that should be fun. So and I see Bev says, I'm so scared about City of Big Shoulders, the hope. Yeah, I know. There's a number of games that, I hope are good. But I've learned to not get as excited about these games in general as I used to, which is a good thing as a reviewer, right? So yeah, this is definitely one that I'm planning on sitting down with Ray and playing a game of while at GenCon, which says something for the simple fact that I don't anticipate playing a lot of games while I'm there. So this is definitely going to be a priority for me. All right. So next, anticipation. Hey, it's our first promo. I'm entitled to be excited about it. I don't have them yet. I get to pick them up at Gen Con, and I'm super stoked about that. So yeah, if you have Lisboa and you're interested in our promo, come by the Capstone Games booth, 1558, buy a t-shirt, get a promo. Pretty simple. If you don't have Lisboa and you're going to pick a copy up at the Eagle Griffin booth, they'll give you a promo if you buy the game there. So cool. Yay. Super, super excited about that. Our first promo. I can't wait to whatever one's on top, that one's staying with us. And then we'll be handing the others out with t-shirt purchase. And again, I've said this numerous times. If you're not going to Gen Con, we're going to have a few hundred of these. We don't know exactly how many yet. So we don't have a distribution plan yet for how to get these to y'all. So be patient after Gen Con once we know how many, because some of them burned up in the fire that cooked a lot of the Lisboa copies that were going over to Europe. So we don't know how many we're getting. So once we know that, then we can figure out how to get them out to other listeners, viewers, fans of the show, patrons, etc. So hold those questions. I don't know the answer. We'll figure it out. But yeah, super excited about our promo. I mean, really. All right. So next up is a game that I have talked about numerous times as well. This kind of came out of nowhere at Origins. And I'm going to probably butcher how it's pronounced. Sidereal Confluence. Trading and negotiation in the Elysium Quadrant. What I want to know, first off, is how did that name get through, right? I mean, doesn't exactly just flow off the tongue, does it? Name notwithstanding, I had numerous people, Chatty Boy here on BGG, Aldi did, Gilhova, all came to me because of what Heavy Cardboard is and said, you need to go check out this game. And Sidear Al, sure, go with it, whatever. Anyway, everybody was stressing that Heavy Cardboard needed to check this out. We haven't gotten a chance to yet, so I'm hoping to stop by and pick up a copy so we can check this out. I know a lot of people really like it. There are others that say, maybe not so much because they're not big on negotiation, which this game is. It's trading and negotiation. It says so in the title. Now, our group isn't the best always when it comes to negotiation. However, enough people have brought it to my attention and said, look, really, even though, WizKids is not your normal publisher, games that we would cover, it's one to definitely check out. So we're going to do exactly like that. All right, cool. All right. So that's Sidereal. Sidereal. There we go. Confluence. So yeah, that's one that I am planning on picking up at GenCon, bar none, sight unseen. Just, want to get that busted out. So there we go. Next up is going to really, really be out of our wheelhouse. Okay? Really out of our wheelhouse. So, what is that? Spirit Island and the expansion are both there, right? I have zero interest in this game. There you go. Just not interested. It's a co-op, not at all something that we at Heavy Cardboard care about. Not our wheelhouse. Not saying it's a bad game. Just zero interest in it. But a couple of people whose opinions I tend to trust, they may work in hyperbole, but said this was as big a surprise to them that they liked. Doesn't normally like co-ops as much as Millennium Blades was a surprise to them that they enjoyed. All right, I'll check it out. So it's a co-op, big strike against it. It has a fantastical theme. It's what is it? A co-op, let's see, self-labeled, quote, complex and thematic cooperative game about defending your island home from colonizing invaders, where each player is a different spirit with an elemental power. Yeah, so I'm suspect about it. But you know what? I've been proven wrong on games before, so I'm willing to give it a shot and take a look at it. I saw this quite a bit, believe it or not, at WBC when we were there. And which really surprised me. Not a game you would expect to see at a WBC type environment. But yeah, I'm going to go into it with an open mind. It's a co-op, so obviously I'm going in with as big of an open mind as I can because I don't like co-ops. However, going to give it a fair shake, and we'll check it out, and we'll see how it goes. So there we go. All right. So that may surprise a lot of people that, wait, what? Heavy Cardboard co-op? What? So, yeah, here we go. We'll give it a try. Plus, it's got cool little mushrooms. And if I like what I see, I mean, they got the expansion there, right? So, okay. All right. So that's it. That's it for the must-haves. Or as far as I really have to check this out. Like, these are the priorities to check out while at GenCon. That's it. That's all the priorities, the highest tier priority that I have. So outside Sidereal, whatever, Confluence, which is a game that has been on my radar since Origins, and trying the demo of City Big Shoulders. Those are the two that I'm legitimately excited about. The others being Affliction, Agra, and Spirit Island, I'm genuinely curious to check out. But that's it. That's the height of excitement for GenCon game-wise for me. Okay. This isn't me trying to be contrarian or anything like that, but I'm curious, for those of y'all in chat and those of y'all watching after the fact, what games should I be looking at that aren't already on this list, on the super high priority list? I'm curious. So you can either say in chat or in the comments down below afterwards. So let's go into priority level number 2, we'll call it, which is, yeah, I definitely want to take a look at these, but I don't really know what to expect from many of them, and we'll go from there. Okay? Cool. All right, so moving on. We'll do a couple at a time here. So we have the next one that is coming out from the same folks that did Trickerion and Anacrity. Cerebria, I think is how we're going to call that. So yeah, we'll see. It's only a demo, so just want to go check it out and see the folks over there at the booth and over at Mindclash and check it out and see what it's about. I literally know nothing about it. Mindclash is putting out a new game. Okay, I'll go check it out. That's simple. So there we go. Then we have The Climbers. Obviously, it's my #1 all-time filler game. I'm going to be at the Capstone Games booth. I put it on here because I feel like it wouldn't be appropriate if I didn't, even though I have my copy, etc., etc. The reason it's on here is I'm excited for other people to be able to get access to this game. And I've said many, many times on this show that this is truly the only game that I feel every gamer can and should own a copy of. So yeah, so there's that. All right. Next up, we have something, again, a bit of out of my wheelhouse, Deadline. So as best as I can understand, it's kind of a card game version, different theme and different mechanisms of Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Now, I don't really see those as co-ops. I see that as, I guess by default, it's a co-op, right? But it's not a game in the normal sense, like the Exit Room games. Those are co-ops, I guess, technically, but they're just in their own kind of deduction games. Group deduction. There we go. I think that would be a good way to describe it. Yeah, so it looks cool. The reason it's not higher on my list, $45 cards. I don't know. We'll look at it. We'll take a look. Looks cool though. I like the premise of it. All right. The next one, Edge of Darkness. Not a ton. I haven't done a whole bunch of homework on this. And AEG is not a company that historically we have found to be a good meshing with heavy cardboard. There's just not a lot that AEG puts out that falls in our wheelhouse that really excites us. This one is one of those, looks interesting. Go check it out. So there you go. And all of these, the majority of these, honestly, are going to fall kind of in that range to where it's not, oh, I know so much about this, I gotta go, because otherwise it would be on a higher tier, right? So yeah, check it out, see what it is, and go from there. Cool. Epic the Awakening falls in the exact same area that Edge of Darkness does, to where it's like, oh, okay, I'll go check it out. I'll be honest, I don't know the publisher, and it's a fantasy theme, so but you know, it looked interesting enough to at least drop by and check it out. So there you go. That's the epitome of, or the extent of why it's on the list. Looked interesting. I'll stop by and check it out. There you go. Next up, Founders of Gloomhaven. Well, we already did a live stream of it. I'm getting a copy. I just wanted to go over, say hi to Isaac, and see if the prototype that assuming he's going to have there has any revisions in it from the version that we had, and just to be able to compare and contrast, as well as talk to him about changes that may or may, that he's considering putting in or that he has put in since we last had our copy of the prototype. Still a game I'm looking forward to. We really enjoyed our plays of it. I've played it now 4 times, I think it is. Really enjoyed it. Even though I realize people are making a mountain out of a molehill about the diagonal roads. All right, so moving on. After Founders, I assume everybody knows Founders of Gloomhaven, or at least has heard of it. All right, next, Iron Dragon. So it's a Crayon Rails game with a fantasy theme. I'll check it out. Doesn't really grab me. I'll be honest. So Crayon Rails, for those that don't know, stuff like Empire Builder, and there's a whole bunch of others. I've never played one, even though I'm really big on trains. I need to fix that. Ash needs to come over. He's a big fan of the Crayon Rail games, and we need to try that. However, just haven't. And so I realize, or my guess is they're trying to capture a wider audience with the fantasy theme here, with Mayfair going with this fantasy meets trains idea. And so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Somebody's asking about, is Gentes coming out at GenCon? Technically Gentes is out. It's available. There were 1,000 copies that Spielworks makes. They're sold out, and US copies I think are only going to be available at Fun Again. I do not think that there's going to be any presence at GenCon. I'll find out later tonight when Uli shows up, so we'll see. All right, so that's Iron Dragon, fantasy Crayon Rails game, or fantasy theme one. Okay. So the King's Will, we actually have a copy of this one sitting downstairs. We just haven't gotten to it yet. ADC Blackfire. Amanda did some proofreading for the rule book, and it looks okay, and we'll check it out. But I wanted to, if they have demo copies out playing, I can go over, watch some of the rounds, not sit down necessarily to play a game, but check it out, watch how the game works, and then be like, oh, okay. So there you go. Next up is a game I know very, very little about from Tasty Minstrel called Lemuria. It really came out of nowhere as far as I'm concerned, because the theme on it isn't exciting, but it's a worker placement, area control. Okay, we'll take a look at it. Cool. And the fact that it's so I was lamenting to the folks in Slack today that, wow, if this game is over an hour, or if there are games over an hour at GenCon this year, it seems they're all co-ops. Bit of hyperbole, but not terribly far. And yeah, so this is one of the few ones that is over an hour that isn't a co-op. All right, so on the list it went, plus worker placement. Y'all know I am a huge worker placement sucker in the best way possible. So you know what? And it's funny, it just caught my eye. I just realized I forgot to put Feudum in this list, and we have it set up on the table in front of me right here. My bad. That should be on here. This copy is actually going to be the demo copy at GenCon. So imagine it's right here in the interested area. All right. Lisboa. I just want to see how it's selling. I'm curious. Plus, this is my reminder to go over to Eagle Griffin and pick up our promos. But I'm excited to see it being demoed and seeing people be excited about a game of this weight at a convention where this type of game is the exception to the rule, or is more the exception than the rule of the weight and type of game that usually is going to be at GenCon. So I just want to really, really see this. So looking forward to that. Cool. So Lisboa, we've played it 3 times on streams. We've reviewed it in episode 80. We've covered that pretty well. There's no surprise as to how much we like this game. So yeah, moving on to Lisboa. Next is a new version of London. So the Martin Wallace game. I want to see what Osprey's doing with it. I'm curious to see what it looks like and see the production quality, and that's pretty much it. We have the original Martin Wallace. I think it's Warfrog or Tree Frog, one of them. I just want to see what it looks like. Talk to the guys at Osprey, and cool, that'll work. Trent asking about where can I demo Feudum at GenCon. I don't know the answer to that. I'm meeting Mark to hand this off to him on Wednesday. So I will ask him that question, and then I will tweet it out. How's that? That's the best I could probably do. Cool? All right. So London, yeah. The cover, it's clean. I like that. But we'll see. All right. So Mini Rails is up next. This is by Mark Garrett's. Garrett's. I knew that I was going to screw that up. Anyway, I have a couple of, or a previous train theme game of his that, not a roll and write, but has it's the first game in which I've ever used like a disposable pad in which to draw on, stuff like that. Played it once, thought it was okay, cool. However, the theme and the concept of this one, which is, I have my notes down here, is a distilled stock buying and track lane train game. Okay, cool. And it's filler, right? So hopefully this falls in that thinky filler, 40 to 60 minute range and does a good job. And if so, cool. We'll definitely investigate more on that. So there's that. All right, it was Tree Frog for London. Thank you, Texas CPA. Hi, Kabuki. All right, next up, Nemos War. So I don't have a copy of this. Matt has a copy of this, our roommate, and it looks amazing. After sitting down, conversation with heavy cardboard with Ian O'Toole, I got to get me a copy of Nemos War. It looks amazing, and I've heard the actual gameplay experience is really, really, the theme comes through really well, and it tells a really good story. So I really want to get my own copy of this. So this is my reminder to do so. All right. So moving on. Then I want to see Petrichor. Now we have prototype downstairs, which looks really, really good, but I would like to see people playing this outside of just us. I love the concept of your cloud. Thematically, you are a cloud. Okay. Again, unique themes. And I talked about this on the show back when it was on Kickstarter, that I did quirkiness, and this really, really is. And it's kind of has a area majority, area control aspect to it that was pretty cool. So I want to see how further along they are, unless it's the same prototype that I have. But nonetheless, want to go check this out. So there we go. No, wrong type of cloud, Kabuki. More rain cloud. So Petrichor, the name is, and correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm sure you will, is the smell of the ozone, or the smell of rain, basically, as we know it. And we actually use that in our regular vocabulary now because of this game, which I think is pretty cool. So there we go. All right, Riverboat. So Mayfair, Michael Kiesling. I know nothing else about it. I'll check it out. It's a Kiesling and it's Mayfair, so the production quality should be good. And it plays in 90 to 120 minutes. Literally, that's all I know. So I'm like, okay, I'll at least check it out. I'm curious. Anybody out there know anything that I don't on this? All right, there's the roar, of course, right? We did a playthrough of it a couple nights ago. We are going to be doing a playthrough probably the week after GenCon or the following week after that of the variant, which is the Ohio map that's on the back of that. Obviously, we really enjoyed it, and I have the original with the 3 Fs, and also have this now, and yeah, just, I mean, I couldn't not put it on the list, right? All right, so the Scarlet Pimpernel. So this is based on a novel set in, I think it's historical fiction, I think is the way you word that. And it's got a, so this is only going to be a preview, and the guys at Griffin have said that it's lighter than what our normal fare is, but that we'll probably really enjoy it. And it's got some mission-based recipe fulfillment type stuff that sounds kind of interesting. So the artwork is Ian O'Toole. That always helps. And so going to go check that out and hopefully sit down for a demo and give it a go. All right. Thank you, Powell. It's about river. Boats may also be involved. Yes, exactly that. So yeah, the Scarlet Pimpernel, the artwork obviously is evocative. I mean, it's, again, one of my favorite board game artists, Ian O'Toole. So, and like I said, the guys at Ego say they think we will like it. So I'll go check it out. Next is Sentient. Now, so this one here is a bit of an odd duck, but not exactly. So Renegade, they're not the heaviest games or our crossover isn't a lot. They have Kepler 3042 coming out later on this year, which we are really, really excited about because that's a game that we picked up at Essen last year and really enjoyed. Dig the new artwork. And we have a copy of Sentient downstairs. We haven't gotten to it yet, but it has kind of a really novel aspect of worker placement that looks kind of cool. And again, the artwork is kind of reminiscent of what Kepler 3042, the new version from Renegade, is going to be using, and I kind of dig it. So I want to actually go and have the demo so that it makes it easier when I sit down to play the game here at the house and I read through the rules, that I have a little bit of experience with the game. So, and Renegade's putting out a lot of cool stuff. Covert, a dice drafting game, which you guys know how much I like dice drafting. I like drafting in general, but dice drafting is something that we've liked ever since Madeira back in 2013. So, yeah, they're putting out some cool stuff. So excited to go see what else. And they have that dexterity game that we saw at Origins. The name is escaping me off the top of my head. But yeah, they're putting out some cool stuff. Not the heaviest, but there's a little bit of crossover between Heavy Cardboard and Renegade. So looking forward to seeing that. All right. So I might as well show all, and there we go. So this one is really off the beaten path, and apparently they're only going to have 20 copies, and those are probably all sold out. So Smooks is, he is the go-between, I think, for the Taiwanese board game group and the rest of the world. So he brings in all these games and makes them available to a wider audience. So he is doing that with GenCon, and some of these, all the ones that are coming out at GenCon tend to be lighter and not necessarily in the thick of our wheelhouse. However, this one has a really, really kind of wicked theme in that, yeah, not just the theme, but the artwork. So I'm not, and I don't know how you would describe the artwork here. I don't know if there's a certain term for this, but I really like it. It looked pretty cool. So hopefully be able to check it out before they're all gone. Hopefully they'll have a demo copy of it there. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word. I lied. Hanamakoji, maybe? So, yeah, I want to check this out. The artwork is what drew me. A lot like back in the 2 years ago when Jiraku came out. The artwork really appealed to me. I had to have a copy of the game for the artwork alone. Just so happened that Jiraku ended up a really good game, a trick-taking area majority game. Not many of those out there. And I think Tasty Minstrel actually is going to have that here at GenCon this year. So curious to see what they did, if anything, and I wouldn't have with the artwork or whatever. But anyway, speaking of artwork, this just looked really really sharp, and just I dig the artwork, so I want to check into it. War of Mine. So the video game, hopefully you guys are familiar with that. It's not about it's a war game that's about the side of war that nobody ever talks about, which is the people that have to go through, that have to live through in a war zone. They have to function in their lives, and this is a board game implementation of it. I think it originally, no, they had a demo of it at Essen last year, and now that it's either out or coming out, I really want to investigate a little bit further. I appreciate games that don't run and hide from controversial or touchy or thought-provoking or just non-standard themes. I mean, there's a reason I have colonialism behind me, which is here kind of as a homage to this war of mine. That it's a dark theme, and I appreciate that. And I watched part of Vassal's review of it saying it's not fun, but I appreciate the game, which there's something to be said for that. I agree. And I'm okay with not wanting to play a heavy game all the time, but still owning it to where it's there if I want to. So I want to actually go and check it out. So that's War of Mine. This War of Mine, sorry. All right, next is Triplock. One of the very few games that I have recently backed on Kickstarter, because the concept of it just sounded really, really cool. Truly a filler game. I mean, 15-minute game, 20-minute game, whatever, that looked really cool. And you guys can read right there what it's about. Yeah, just, again, I dig quirky. I like unique. I like something clever. And this game definitely seemed like it provided that. And so I was like, yeah, the price was right. Okay, we'll back it and give it a try. So there's that. So Tulip Bubble. If you're familiar with the game Tulip Mania, I don't have a copy. The guys that have played it at HeavyCon the last few years all seem to enjoy it. Not like, oh, it's amazing, but they really enjoyed the idea of what the game is about, being the bubble, the value of tulips. Was it in the 17th century? Yeah, the 17th century, the value of tulips, it was a bubble, like a housing bubble or anything like that. And so I'm curious if this is a riff off of that, if it's just a reprint, because when I went to BGG and I looked it up, it didn't say re-implements Tulip Mania, so I don't know. But I'm curious enough about it to go check it out, and yeah, so we'll see. All right, cool. So Unlock, this one is here for the entire series of the Unlock games. I really enjoyed the exit rooms, and I think this is going to be similar to that. I think it is, and I'm sure anybody that's out there that's played them can tell me, nope, you're way off base, or yeah, kind of. So I'm curious to check these out. I really, really enjoyed the one, the abandoned cabin, I think it was, the exit, the abandoned cabin. And so wanted to, I love puzzles. I love escape rooms. So more of that, if they're done well, yes, please. Cool. All right. So we have Valletta. City building. Cool. All right. And it's ZMan. However, the time. So, as you guys, I mean, we've talked about filler games so far on this list. However, whenever I see a meaty-ish game and it shows a time limit of 40 to 80 minutes, I'm worried for myself, and this is all we're talking about is heavy cardboard here, me and Amanda. I'm concerned that it's, oh, that's fine, because of the time frame given the premise of a game. And so this falls into that category of, I don't know, it looks cool, but we'll check it out and we'll see. So we'll see. All right, let's see. Reading the chat here. Churchill says, Unlock has annoying hidden numbers. Too bad if your eyesight is bad. Good to know. Mine is not. So, but still, good to know. Appreciate it. Yeah. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but in my opinion, fine is milquetoast. Fine is a game on a pile of games. There are plenty of games that come out that are fine every year. There's nothing wrong with them, but I wouldn't want to spend money on a fine game. And I don't mean, yeah, you guys, I don't want to belabor the point. You get the idea. All right. Whistle Stop. So Bezier Games, normally not a ton of intersection between heavy cardboard and Bezier. We tried, I'm trying to think of the dice game. I can't think of the name. I can see it. Colony. That's it. And that was fine. Castles of Mad King Ludwig. That was cool. That was all right, but it was the way the scoring worked at the end was pretty tedious. And Bezier is taking that line of games, Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and they're coming out with yet another expansion for it. Can't blame them. If it's selling, good on them. Make your money. Just not at all interesting to me. And I'll be honest, Whistle Stop looks kind of light for what it is, for what we want. However, there was enough there, and I think route building, pick up and deliver. I'm willing to go take a look at it and check and see if it's got enough meat on it to be worth picking up, I guess is what I'm saying. All right. 75 minutes. So maybe a step up from filler. Cool. All right. Good deal. Let's check it out. And I know it's super. I mean, wow. Look at that. There's 473 people that have thumbed it in anticipation on this thing. So that's got to be one of the higher ones on this list. That also corresponds or matches what I have on mine. So we'll see. All right. 1750, Britain versus France. So not much by way of war games at all coming out at GenCon, which, again, kind of makes sense because GenCon really isn't the place for those to come out. However, this not really a war game. It's an interesting. I hate that. That is such an overused word. It's such a catch-all. Shame on me for abusing that like that. It's a card game. So does that make it a war game? We'll see. Don't know a lot about it, but it's one of the few war games that's coming out at GenCon. So, okay, I'll go take a look and see what I see and see if it piques my interest, and we'll go from there. Cool. Alien Artifacts. So this is kind of my catch-all for Portal games because First Martians doesn't interest me in the least. Robinson Crusoe on Mars with some differences doesn't interest me. Co-ops, again, reference the earlier discussion on that. But we'll check and see what Portal's got. See if there's some stuff that looks interesting to us. Imperial Settlers, 51st State, New Era, all that stuff. Cool, good. This, I don't know. We'll see. Again, alien theme. Yeah, whatever for us. But yeah, we'll check it out. See what's going on over at Portal. Just, I know a lot of people were all abuzz about First Martians. Not even a little bit, but that's just because that's not what we enjoy. And y'all know that. All right, so keep moving. Let's see. All right. So Bard's Saga. So this is another of those really limited Taiwanese board game group games. My favorite book of all time is the Iliad and the Odyssey. So when I'm reading this, and it's about Homer and a lost third book out there, know nothing else about the game, that was enough to pique my interest. I was like, oh, really? I need to go check this out. Even if I can't get a copy into Essen, I want to check this out. So yeah, there we go. And this one, Boo. So I have no idea what this one in particular is, but this is my reminder to go check out the Perplexed is the publisher. The Paco Games. They come in like a Wrigley Spearmint Gum size pack of games. And there is one of them in particular that Matt turned us on to that we absolutely loved. And now I can't. They all have 3-letter names. And it's the one with the different colors. And you have to make runs of different colors stacking on top of one another at 90-degree angles. Stuff like that. And I cannot think of the name off the top of my head. I'm trying to stall, hoping you guys in chat will be able to remind me what it is. Nonetheless, I loved that game. Amanda did as well, as does Matt. And I want to get a copy of that and check out some of the others. So down in the comments below, Hugh, there you go. See you guys come through. Well done. Yes, really, really enjoyed that game. And so just goes to show it doesn't have to be heavy for heavy cardboard, right? Just thinky. Anyway, so if you guys would, not in the chat, but in the comments down below. Oh, hi, Amanda. In the comments below, somebody make a list for me and tell me which of the Paco games is worthy to investigate further, omitting the ones that maybe not so much. So help me out. Do a little bit of the legwork for me if you would. All right, cool. All right. So yeah, about this one. I'll take a look. I mean, the name's not exactly selling me, right? However, it actually looked pretty cool. The in-game boards that I had made it look like not an abstract, but it just looked interesting enough that I was like, and I know I'm not the only one. This is shallow. I get that. However, I know that there are certain pictures that you guys will see of certain games, whatever it is. Here's a good one, Arkwright, for me, all right? When I saw the board with all the workers lined up on Arkwright, I was like, and the different tracks for the demand, or I'm sorry, for the interest level for the appeal. There you go. I was like, yeah, that looks cool. And that's kind of what, no, apples and giraffes here. I get that, comparing Arkwright and Bunny Kingdom. People are going to have fun with that. It's more or less, I saw what the final board looked like, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. And then I watched, I think it was Man vs. Meeple's overview of the game. And yeah, I don't know, but I'm willing to at least go check it out. So that's what this list is for, right? It's not a hype list. It's just what has piqued my interest. Okay. I'll take a look. So there you go. Oh, there's bunny minis in this. Alrighty. Yeah, maybe not so much, Marlon. Maybe not. All right. So this one here, Coal Country. We saw this for the first time at WBC, both Amanda and I. This was actually a tournament game at WBC. So I believe, and I'm not positive of this, but I believe that Rio Grande Games, is one of the big sponsors for WBC. So they get a couple of slots for tournaments every year, or at least they did this year, for a couple of games that either are not out or had just come out. And one of them was Coal Country. The other was, I think it's called Orient Express. And we didn't play either of them. And there were definitely, this isn't the best rule book is what I heard from folks, but they said that it had some enjoyable aspects of the game. So I wanted to try and investigate it further if I have time. Orient Express was super popular though. That's the other one that it wasn't on the GenCon preview list, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe it's out already. Rio Grande Games, their distribution is, there's no hype. Like all of a sudden a game just shows up at a store or at our doorstep or what. Hey, here's the latest, and like never had heard anything about it. So yeah, we'll see. All right. Here is the one war game that I found on the entire GenCon preview list by Columbia Games. So it's a block war game. However, it's tactical. I don't really enjoy tactical war games at all. I prefer a zoomed out view, whether that's more operational level or strategic level. However, this is the one true war game out there. I'm at least going to drop by and go see Grant and see what the game's about, even though it's probably not going to be in my wheelhouse because of it being a tactical game. Still, it's the one war game, so I'll check it out. Trent, watch Twitter on Wednesday. I will let you know when I find out. So Darkest Night, yet another co-op, shockingly. However, I don't see this as a co-op. I see this as a solo game. Victory Point Games, I read a review that Buddy Mo had written on this on BGG that looked really, again, it's fantasy and whatever, but the high production quality for Victory Point Games plus the review that I read made it sound worthy of checking out. So there you go. Edge of Humanity. So Golden Egg Games, which I realize is not everybody's favorite. I understand that. However, trying to push that aside, saw it on the list. It looked relatively, I'm trying to avoid using the word interesting, but 30 to 45 minutes, so it's a filler game. Do I have enough fillers? Do we need more fillers unless there is something revolutionary or something completely drastic? I don't know, at least as far as we're concerned, but I'll check it out. Oh, okay. All right, Trent. The chat sometimes does that. Beta software, what can you do? So this is another Ex Libris. You know what? This game right here that's on screen. Another by Renegade Games. the fantasy theme really doesn't grab me, but I'll be honest, there's been a lot of buzz around it, so I want to just go see why there's so much buzz around it, even though it doesn't interest me at all thematically. So we'll see. Plus, it's a worker placement, so I'll take a gander at it. But overall, yeah, this is more just crowd driven. I just want to see why. So there you go. And oh, hey, I already talked about Jiraku, so I want to see what they did artwork-wise with it. If you enjoy trick-taking games and or you enjoy area majority games, do yourself a favor and at least check this game out. Like I said, I spoke to about it earlier. Gorgeous artwork, at least in the original edition. And from the cover of this, it looks like they just didn't mess with it, which was a good decision. But yeah, really unique because I don't know of other trick-taking area majority, area control games out there. I'd never seen any before this, and I haven't since. There may be others that I'm unaware of, but yeah, that's two things that don't normally go together that I originally got just strictly for the artwork and found out, oh yeah, we really like the game. So there you go. Later, Marlin. World's Fair did not. So there was a running joke on Twitter about, wait, this is World's Fair in Chicago. Why doesn't it have a H.H. Holmes aspect or expansion for it? That would have been cool. Would have been up our alley. Both Amanda and I are macabre and enjoy learning about serial killers, et cetera, et cetera. And so when I think of the Chicago World's Fair, that's the first thing I think about. So the fact that it didn't, I was like, oh, bummer. So this is another one of those quirky games being brought over by... Yeah, I think this is being brought over by Smooks and company, Taiwanese board game group. Just look cool, and it's a different theme. It's quirky, and so that's why it's on the list, and that's why it's on the undecided. Oh, I'll check it out, but that's no more, no less. So this is a reminder for me to go over and see the stuff at Level 99 Games. Not so much for, well, I mean, Millennium Blades was a 2016 Golden Elephant Award finalist, even though that is way outside of what you would normally expect to be our wheelhouse. And we try and avoid using the word fun, because what's fun to one person is work for another. But I still have yet to come up with a better description of Millennium Blades than fun, because it has so many things that we should not enjoy. Real time, random draws, paper money, and it's, you know, based on it's meta of playing a CCG, which I've talked about this a lot in the past, but it just works, and it's so completely and utterly one of a kind. Yeah, we absolutely fell in love with this game. So yeah, I want to see what else they're going to be putting out. There we go. And Andrew, to answer your question, they're done by interest level. All right, so Mint Delivery, another filler game. We got turned on to the first one of these, which, oh God, now I can't think of the name of it. It's Mint something or other in the name. A worker placement that plays in about 10 minutes. That I was like, wow, there's actually a real game here, and it comes in a little mint tin. And this is the next game that's coming out in that series. And I'm sure that somebody will be up. Mintworks, thank you very much, Matthew. Really, really enjoyed that, surprisingly. And so I want to go check out Mint Delivery. There you go. Pick up and deliver game that probably is going to be playable in about, well, it looks like about 10 minutes. So that'll be cool. Cool. I'm sorry, what game, y'all? All right, MOA is on here because I want to see people's reaction to the game. We live streamed a prototype of it over at from Ape Games, and it's Martin Wallace. And we mentioned that it is a considerably lighter area control game that would be a great jumping off point for those that don't feel comfortable with something like Dominant Species, but could start with something like this, and if they like it and want to delve deeper, then Dominant Species would be a perfect step, or MOA would be a perfect step to that. And so want to just go check that out. So Oktoberfest from Rio Grande Games looks pretty basic, I think is a good way to describe it. Just from a cursory glance at the graphics and the components and everything else. The theme, cool, okay, Oktoberfest, all right. But again, didn't really grab me, but enough to where I'm like, it's a worker placement game. Yeah, I'll check it out. So, I'm sorry, I got this confused. Not a worker placement game. However, like Orient Express and like Coal Country, with it being Rio Grande Games, I know nothing about the game. We'll find out. Find out together and see if it's something that is more in-depth than the graphics would make it look, I think is a good way to put it. Plus, over an hour, not a co-op. Again, tongue-in-cheek on that, but I was really, really shocked that if you found games that played over an hour, how many were co-ops this year coming out of GenCon? New expansion to Orléans. Check it out. Y'all know Orléans, and so yeah, we'll check it out. Simple enough. So these next two, actually, we'll put here together. Not at all interested in them. However, somebody brought up a good point. That what if Heavy Cardboard tried some games that were completely out of their normal wheelhouse, but went at them and reviewed them with them being out of our wheelhouse from the heavy gamer's perspective? Well, I'm less inclined to do that with Pandemic Legacy. However, with Rising Sun, I mean, that was, I don't know, how many millions did that thing make on Kickstarter? And has it just not at all interested in it. However, what about that concept of reviewing a game that is out of our wheelhouse, but coming at it from the heavy gamer's perspective? I think there's some merit to that. So this is my attempt at taking a look further into maybe doing something like that. Amanda and I doing that. Our group is willing to try something like that, something different, and see how it goes. So yeah, and Andrew says he dislikes Pandemic, but somehow loves season 1. So maybe. So we'll take a look, and I'm curious if that is something that you guys who are watching this would be interested in. Yeah, I've already touched on it, so you guys tell me. Santorini is an abstract, Roxley Games. Plus, I figure Roxley's going to be there. I want to at least stop by and say hi to the guys and see if they have anything by way of new stuff on brass. But I wanted to see Santorini in person. Nobody I know has the game, and it's got very well, or it's a very well thought of abstract, well produced. So go take a look at it. Cool. So this next one is, yeah, a card-driven war game covering the months following D-Day. You guys now know as much as I know about this. A 2-player card game, war game. War game. So we'll see. I figure, okay, put it on the list. We'll go check it out. That's cool. So here, Summit. So I met Connor at Essen where he was demoing this at Essen, and it looked different, but it didn't really grab me. However, there are some fellow reviewers that seem to be all aflutter about this game. And so I wanted to go back and take a look a second time to see if maybe there was something I missed, or if there was something there that maybe I was tired when I went by the booth. Who knows? But give it another shot and take a look and see if it's something that would interest me, or to confirm my initial feelings from this. So we'll take a look. I like how different it looks, and how different and how kind of clever the gameplay was, but it just didn't grab me, even though it's a pretty different theme, which should grab me by default. Hellas and Elysium is just there to, we have a copy of it already. We live streamed the Elysium side, I think we did. We're going to do the Hellas side the week after GenCon probably, or the week following that, just to be able to show it off. Really enjoyed it, and Terraforming Mars is a unstoppable train right now as far as the popularity. It was the most popular game at WBC, which really shocked me. So yeah, just want to go see that and see if Stephen Bonacour's got anything else that he will spill the beans on to me, either privately or for the show, regarding future expansions for Terraforming Mars. This next one is demo only for level 99 games. And again, because of Millennium Blades, I'm willing to take a look at stuff that would normally be outside of our wheelhouse that's coming from level 99, and this just fits in with that. So we'll see. And the last one, alphabetically, is Wasteland Express Delivery Service. So we'll see. We have a review copy of this. We did not request it. We had talked to... I forgot to expand this. Sorry about that. We talked to the folks, or the folks at Pandasaurus reached out to us and said, hey, do you have any interest in this? And I like the idea of a pick up and deliver, Mad Max style, whatever. But I was like, I don't know that this would necessarily fall in our wheelhouse. I said, I'm willing to give it a try, and then let the game dictate how much coverage we give it. Whether or not it's just, hey, we played it and yep, not really our thing, or we review it fully, or whatever. And they said, yep, that sounds totally fair. Cool, we'll send you one. Okay. We haven't gotten to it yet. We will hopefully by the end of August. And this allows me to go check out the game and see it in play, and try and form some initial real opinions of the game in play. So we'll check that out. So yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm like I said, Mad Max ish. I know it's not the IP, but you know what I'm saying. Or Borderlands might be a closer match to that, but whatever. Pick up and deliver. Okay, we'll check it out. So, is that on the list? If I did, Churchill, the Clans of Caledonia absolutely would be super high on this list to check out in person. I must have just missed it in the preview twice, apparently. So my bad, or it's not in a preview list. But nonetheless, yes, Clans of Caledonia, as well as, like I mentioned earlier, Feudum, which as soon as Amanda gets home today, before Uli flies in, we're going to be busting that out, or maybe afterwards later on this evening, but looking forward to that. So that's it. That is the heavy cardboard GenCon preview list, which is a whole lot of, well, we'll see. There's not a whole lot on there that is really exciting to me, to be honest. There are some that I'm genuinely curious about. In fact, that entire list is I'm curious about. But is it more than that? I mean, again, the stuff on the must-have, but which means must go take a look at. Sidi Real, whatever, Confluence, Affliction, Agra, City of the Big Shoulders, and Spirit Island, which it still is a little weird to me that I'm going to check out Spirit Island, but I'm going to give it a fair shake. I'm going to try and see how it goes. So yeah, so that's my list. So by my list, that by default is the heavy cardboard list, because if you guys know about the show, Amanda doesn't anticipate games. She has zero interest in researching games or doing all that. So it's 100% all me. As well as a little bit of influence from our Slack channel and just folks on Twitter, whatever, BGG. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, so what do you guys think about that? I'm curious. And do you have any questions for me, whether it's Gen Con related or otherwise? I figure it's what? We'll go for about 10 minutes. I'll answer some questions and try and be a little bit more short with my answers. Let's see. You must, so Skywolf says you must really trust whoever told you about Spirit Island. It literally rocketed from 0 to hero. New on their end, maybe, but to me, we're taking a wait and see approach, but I'm willing to at least invest a little time to check it out. So there's that. Are you interested in the Deckscape games? They're in the exit unlock style, Andrew said. I could be sure if they're in that, if they're, you know, escape room type games. I'm willing to check it out for sure. So let's see. Sidereal. There we go. Sidereal. Ha! I'll forget it in about 2 minutes, though, because I have the memory of a goldfish. Sorry about that, guys. Going back, seeing if there's anything massive that I missed in the chat, but doesn't look like it. Cool. Then, you know what? We'll go ahead and book it here. We'll call it here. Yeah. Cool. All right. So, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. I know it's not terribly exciting because I know there are a lot of other shows that are really excited about a lot of these games. I am not. It doesn't mean some of these games aren't going to be really good. I hope they are. I'm looking at this list and there's nothing. We've already tried Founders of Gloomhaven, the Ruhr, the Climbers. Obviously, the Climbers should be number one on folks' list. There's a lot of I'm curious, but there's really not a lot of cannot wait. So how's that for anti-buzz? And it's not me being contrarian, like I said at the beginning. It's just simple fact that it reaffirms that Essen is the big convention for what it is that the games that we enjoy and the games that we cover. All right, there's a couple questions, so hold on. Yep, there we go. Bard Saga. All right, cool. Yeah, okay, then that's it. I'll be honest. yeah, I'm curious. Just I know us reviewers get blamed a whole lot on hyping games and creating buzz. Whether I mean maybe we don't, whatever. However, try and be honest about this stuff and just I hope I get surprised by some of these games. I really do. And some of these really become really special. But as it is right now today, August, whatever today is, 14th or so, yeah, cool. We'll check it out. That's kind of my overall feeling for GenCon and the games coming out. So there we go. Cool. Thanks everybody for for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you did, subscribe, like, whatever. We have our Patreon, patreon.com/heavy cardboard, that without them, I'm not able to do this during the day. So thank you to them and everybody else that supports the show. Really, really appreciate it. And with that, look for the Gentis live stream playthrough with Uli Blenneman of Spielworks tomorrow. We still don't know what time until he arrives, but yeah. And our first impressions of Feudum on the episode that comes out Thursday. All right, cool. Take it easy, y'all. Catch y'all later. Bye.